All right, everyone. I think that should bring us right to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we will go ahead and kick off with the webinar. So welcome to today's January 2024 GDIP ICL pre-new student orientation webinar. So this is a webinar that we've started a few terms ago now, just to provide a little bit of precursory information to incoming students in preparation for new student orientation and the start of term. To kick off, though, this is the first time that we're really interacting with you, not as applicants anymore, but as incoming students. So congratulations, first of all, in making it through that process, and welcome to the program. We're really excited to move beyond the admission stage. I'm sure everyone here is as well. But it is now time to really start thinking about that next step, which is beginning your studies this January. To begin, though, we want to start the session with our acknowledgement of territory, which we do at the beginning of all of our sessions. So Queen's University is physically situated on unceded traditional Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee territory. It is important for us to always acknowledge the unceded lands that Queen's physically sits on, as well as the atrocities that are still coming to light to this day that have been perpetrated against the Indigenous population of Canada. We really want to ensure support, acknowledgement, and reconciliation when it comes to our Indigenous population, and making sure that they feel heard and supported, and that they're being provided exactly what they need. Queens really does focus in on indigeneity. We have the Office of Indigenous Initiatives and the Four Directions Indigenous Student Center. So for any of our incoming GDIP-ICL students who self-identify as Indigenous, I encourage you to visit those organizations to learn what supports are provided, what events are provided for our Indigenous students. There's lots of great things that are occurring at those two institutions. So definitely find out more during your time as you begin your process in transitioning into a student in the GDIP ICL program, but then during your student life as well. All right, this is our agenda for today. I'm going to go through some introductions of the GDIP ICL team members who are here, and then we're going to jump right into the materials. We're going to cover official documents and holds. We're going to cover course selection and SOLAS. We're going to cover textbooks and tuition, technology and program plans, and finish up with QSAS and accommodations. Then at the end of the session, we're going to open up the Q&A box, and we're going to have some time to interact with you and answer any of the questions that you may have. We keep the Q&A box closed for the majority of the presentation because a lot of the questions that you may have should be answered within the materials that we're going to provide today, but there definitely is an opportunity at the end to ask us anything specific in preparation for January 2024. So this is the team. I am Don Ames. I'm the manager of admissions and recruitment. You've heard plenty from myself as well as my colleague Jolene McLean, program coordinator of admissions. We have been there part and parcel throughout the entire admissions process. We have been communicating with you via email in preparation for the application process. Maybe you joined some of our webinars previously, and then as you were submitting documents and waiting for your assessment, you were interacting with us. It was really great to interact with everybody. Hopefully the process went well. Obviously it went very successfully because you're here with us today, but we know that it was an arduous process, and we just appreciate the patience that you took with us. Now we're going to introduce you to some in-program staff that you haven't met yet. Jan Edward is the Manager of Academic Operations and Administration, and Amanda Higgins is the Program Coordinator for Student Support. Those are two integral staff members that you're going to be interacting with from this point on as you are a student in the GDIP ICL. So hearing from them today is going to be fantastic. Starting to interact with them today, learning about what they have to offer for our incoming students, really vital with this session as well as new student orientation. Before we really kick off into the presentation, though, we like to treat this session like it is one of the webinars or tutorials that you're going to be going through in the program. So we ask you to change your Zoom name in accordance with what you should be doing within your tutorials. It's the one way that you get marked as attending those tutorials. So go ahead and change your Zoom name to your first name as well as your pronouns. So for example, mine, I actually provide my full name, Don Ames, and my pronouns are he, him. And then Jolene provides, for example, she, her in her pronouns. So again, you're mirroring what you're doing here with what you will be doing in your tutorials. So it's best to just get into this process now, just so that it's familiar with you and that your Zoom name is in accordance with your attendance list. One of the additional things that I will let you know is that we're going to be providing a list of curated links at the end of this pre-NSO session. Not this one specifically, the 3 that we have. So on Wednesday afternoon, we're going to send out links that are going to be really vital to help you prepare in the meantime in preparation for January. So watch for that, as well as a copy of the slide deck that we're presenting today, and possibly a recording of one of the pre-NSO sessions. But really, let's start off with official document requirements. This is something we have been hitting on for some time now. We have been emailing you about official documents ever since you accepted your offer of admission. It's really key that this is your #1 focus right now, if it hasn't already been, because our partner, the School of Graduate Studies and Postdoctoral Affairs, or SGSPA for short, they require all incoming students to submit official transcripts from all post-secondary study. So if you haven't already done so with the admissions process, you need to make sure that you have your post-secondary institution submit documents directly to SGSPA's office via email, fax, or physical mail right now. The reason that this is so important, they require official confirmation of your transcripts in order to allow us to enroll you in courses. Now, enrollment has already started. We'll cover that in a few slides here, but if you haven't seen ICL 810 populate within your Solus account, that means there must be an academic hold on your student account. So you need to work with SGSPA and have your official documents submitted on your behalf. It's really important that you utilize the SGSPA application system. So the admissions process isn't quite done yet. You need to log back into that system to see what documents are currently outstanding. There is a list, whether it is unofficial or official, or if it states hard copy received. Make sure you document what is required and contact SGSPA if you have any questions. sgspa.reception@queensu.ca. Or in one of our recent emails, we provided you with the admissions and registration assistant specific to your surname, so you can communicate with them directly to find out what is still required. If you've already been communicating with them, great, please continue to do so. And when we say official documents, we're talking about transcripts as well as degree or diploma certificates. So if your transcript doesn't highlight that you've graduated or that you've received your degree, you need to submit that degree or diploma certificate in addition to your transcripts to provide that proof. If you happen to have your own copies of transcripts, if they are sealed by your institution, you can send those to the SGSPA office on your own accord. Be cautious, because those documents then become the property of Queen's University and they are not returned. Or if you have an opened copy, you could potentially take it to a notary public and have it sealed and signed and marked official. I would contact SGSPA to confirm what the situation is for notary public copies of transcripts. Again, any questions in this regard, if you see that there's an academic hold on your file, and we'll cover that a little bit, make sure you're contacting SGSPA directly. And these are the methods of delivery that I've already mentioned. Email sgspa.reception@queensu.ca, or contact your A&R assistant directly. Fax numbers right there. Physical mail addresses right there. Some of you may have utilized different physical mailing addresses. I hope that's not the case. I would say confirm where your transcripts were delivered and that they were received by SGSPA. I am going to pass it over to Jolene to continue on with the official document requirement slides.
Thanks, Don. So now that Don has provided you with the SGSPA document requirements and the delivery methods, I'm going to talk a little bit about the challenges that you might experience if these items are delayed. So failure to provide the SGSPA with the required documents will result in a registration hold placed on your Solus account, and we will not be able to proceed with your course registration. So this is how a hold will appear if you log into your Solus. And we'll go through navigating Solus in a few more slides. But if there is a hold, you can click on it and it'll often provide you with more information. Without course registration, you're not considered registered and you risk being withdrawn from the university. So of course, we don't want that to happen. We want you to study with us in January. So it's imperative that you deal with these holds as soon as possible. If you want to check what specific documents are still required or confirm that your documents have been received, just log back into the application where you applied and accepted your offer. On the main dashboard, you can click View Status of Documents, and then just have a look at the messages beside the description of the document. So for the official transcript or degree certificate to be considered received, it must say hard copy of the final transcript received. That's what you're looking for. And if that says it beside all your documents, then you're good to go. Next slide, please. Alternatively, the SGSPA assistant assigned to your file can confirm what's needed before we can proceed with your registration. So based on your surname, if you refer to this chart, you will see which SGSPA assistant is assigned to you. Additionally, when we sent out the email about missing documents a week or so ago, we actually copied them on that email and included their contact information right in the body, so you have easy access to that content. It is important to note, though, that the SGSPA office receives a very large volume of application material, so you must allow some sufficient time for them to process your documents and respond to your requests. And like Dawn mentioned, some of you may actually have noticed that we began registration for ICL 810 yesterday, so you might even be able to see that course in your SOLAS now. OnQ will update usually within about 24 hours. But those of you who are not registered most likely have a hold placed on your SOLAS, and you need to get it addressed ASAP so that you can begin in January. Next slide, please. Now, while we're on the topic of documents and all the things that we ask of you, one of the items that new students often request is documentation that confirms their acceptance or attendance in the program. So there's a few documents available to you that will serve this purpose, and often the information in the offer letter that was emailed is adequate. But if you need further confirmation of your study status at Queen's, you should refer to the verification of enrollment, which is generated from your SOLAS account, as shown here. It is important to note, though, again, that this document can only be generated if all of the holds have been cleared and you've been registered. So another reason to make sure you address those soon. Thank you.
Thanks, Jolene. It's a heavy topic to start this presentation with, we understand, but it is the most important thing that incoming students need to focus on right now. You need to have those holds cleared up or we can't enroll you in courses, essentially, is what Jolene and I have both covered. So make sure you're reviewing your SOLAS account. If you are having difficulties logging into SOLAS or you're having net ID issues, we'll cover that a little bit later in the presentation. But again, just make sure you're resolving these matters of official documentation now. All right, let's continue on with course selection and SOLAS itself. So all of our students who are coming in this January are full-time students, and you'll be starting off the January term with 3 courses. ICL 810 will begin your term for 6 weeks, and then you'll be taking ICL 820 and 830 simultaneously after you complete 810. So one of the things that we hear a lot about is about enrollment. So obviously we've covered the official document requirements and the holds, but if those are cleared, a lot of individuals are asking when they can enroll themselves in courses. That doesn't take place within the GDUP ICL, at least not yet. We're going to consider that well in the future, but for you, you're going to be manually enrolled by program staff into the courses, and that's why we sent out the tutorial enrollment survey. We wanted to find out what your preferred tutorial dates and times are. And we're going to try our best to enroll people in what they have selected. It's not going to be for everyone, unfortunately. It's a first come, first serve situation, and we have a allocation of weekday and weekend tutorials. But you can start seeing those being populated into your SOLAS account now. And just as a refresher for tutorial options for this coming January, ICL 810, it was either going to be Thursdays 6 to 8 p.m. or Sundays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., all in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. You should also note that for ICL 810, every student needs to take a mandatory tutorial. It's a plenary session, an hour long, between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For ICL 820 and 830, which again run after 810, which is why 810 and 820 have the same tutorial dates and times. 820 will run again Thursdays 6 to 8 p.m. or Sundays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And ICL 830 will run on Wednesdays 6 to 8 p.m. or on Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And again, everything in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. I'm going to pass it over to Amanda to cover SOLAS information.
Thanks, Dawn. As mentioned by Dawn and Jolene in this presentation, SOLAS is basically a virtual student center or student portal. You'll be accessing SOLAS a number of times throughout the duration of the program. There is a lot of services, so when this presentation is sent to you, be sure to click on the links. You'll be able to access a navigational video on what exactly to click on. Mainly, you'll be accessing it for your timetable and viewing your tuition fees. We've talked about holds. The start of every term has tuition fees, so you want to be on top of this through your SOLAS account. First thing you should do when you sign into your SOLAS account is check your name and address is correct. This is especially important when you come to the end of the program and your diploma is being shipped to you. Be sure to update your mailing address. Key takeaway, you need your NetID to be set up. You need your NetID to access certain features of the new student orientation and important library resources such as CanLII and Westlaw. Finally, enable pop-ups on your browser so you won't miss anything. When you log into your SOLAS, it will have a landing page that will look like this. Once we have registered you into your courses, you'll be able to view your timetable by clicking Manage Classes. Once you get in SOLAS and have clicked on Manage Classes, you can see your weekly schedule here. This is where you will have a clear visual of your week-to-week schedule. Please note, even though you may see a button on as an option to drop, change, add, this does not apply to you. Students in GDIP ICL program cannot add or drop courses or make changes to their timetable. After you indicate your preferences on the course and tutorial survey, the GDIP ICL team will register you into courses on a first-come, first-served basis. For any modifications to your timetable, please email the GDIP ICL team at gdipicl.support@queensu.ca. We will let you know what options are available. You cannot do it on your own. You will need the support team to modify. This is an example of a timetable of what a student would see. On the left-hand side, if you had selected weekly view, this is how it would look. On the right, it shows that this student has successfully completed ICL 810 with the minimum passing grade of B-. Some students will wonder why they are registered in the course twice, because you'll see it listed twice. This is not a mistake. You'll see one is listed as online, actual course, and the other is listed as tutorial. This tells you both are secured and you're good to go. Although you can see you're registered in SOLAS in a tutorial, I want to caution you, tutorials are accessible via OnQ course shells and not through your SOLAS account. Clicking on any of these will not lead you to your tutorial. You must go to OnQ course shells. I strongly encourage you to familiarize yourself with SOLAS and OnQ.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Amanda. We're going to continue on by speaking about textbooks and tuition. So tuition is going to be obviously another main focus for anybody who's joining us as a new student. It's going to be a few slides here, so bear with us, and it's going to be a lot of information, but it's going to be valuable to help you with the tuition payments as well as the Queen's tuition payment plan, which I know a lot of incoming students want to hear about. So as I've mentioned throughout the admissions process during a lot of my webinars, students pay for only the courses they are currently enrolled in. So for full-time students joining us this January, you're going to be paying for 3 courses. The total tuition for the January 2024 term is going to be $5,356.08. Very, very specific. All students pay the exact same tuition, and tuition is due by January 10th. There is a fee of $150 if you miss the tuition deadline, and I believe there might have been an error in the welcome email or the offer email that we provided out. January 10th is the deadline for tuition. That's we had to get some confirmation from SGSPA to confirm, so now the dates are correct within this presentation. Now, Tuition is not something that we manage at the GDIP ICL staff level. This is managed by the Office of the University Registrar. So any tuition related questions needs to be directed to fees@queensu.ca. And that includes information about the pre-authorized payment plan, or the PPL for short. Now, for individuals who want to have the ability to break down their tuition in a given term into 4 equal installments, you need to apply for the pre-authorized payment plan via your Solus account. So now that tuition is starting to be populated for those who have cleared their holds, you'll start to see tuition fees appear within Solus. You can now start applying for the PPL via that account. Withdrawals occur on the 5th of every month, except for January. That first payment will come out on the 10th. And then for February, March, and April, the equal installment will come out on the 5th. And again, that's just pulled directly from your bank account. So you'll have to link banking information within Solus as well, should you apply for and be approved for the PPL. Again, the PPL is something we don't manage. Fees@queensu.ca. You'll be able to receive additional information about this opportunity for our students. If you're not going to go via the PPL, that's completely fine. You can pay your tuition fees via online banking. For domestic students only, you can pay via credit card. And for international students, you can pay via wire transfer. Again, everything needs to be paid on January 10th, 2024. So prepare yourself now. If you need support to pay tuition, unfortunately, our program is not OSAP eligible. It is a frustration. We'd love for our program to be OSAP eligible, but that's why we have this partnership with RBC to offer a line of credit. So for more information, speak to Mark or Flora. You can find more information via our tuition financing page. That link will be included in the curated link list that we provide to you after this session. For anybody who is applying for this, make sure that you have a Canadian co-signer to assist you with the line of credit application process. So just prepare yourself if you need this support. The bursary offers have already been delivered to incoming students by the Student Awards Office. Our program has no control over those as well. So again, look at all routes available to you to find funding for the program. Now I will pass it over to Jan to talk about textbooks.
Thanks, Don. Hi, everyone. So I really want to highlight eMIND as our official textbook publisher. You'll see the link that's posted there, emin.ca/ICL. That's where you should be going to see all of the books that are required for this program. You don't need to go to any outside sources even use the search box to look for anything. So please go there, and you'll see once you get to the landing page for the ICL textbooks, not all courses require textbooks, so that's good for you. So you should focus on what is there posted. There is a bundle for ICL 810, which is your first course, and there have been new additions and edits made for the version that you'll be receiving once you start the program. So this is why I'm encouraging you do all your purchasing from the eMIND website. And you'll see once you go onto the website too, there's different versions that you can choose from that you can choose whatever you're comfortable with. There's print and there's ebook. Don't buy all of it. Just choose one version that works for you. And if you have accessibility requirements and things, you can always reach out to eMIND as well. There's a contact there. And we are encouraging everyone to get their orders in before they have their holiday closure. So please get all your requests in there to purchase your books. And the ebook option will be available 1 to 2 weeks from today itself. And a bonus is that if you live within Canada, if you sign up for eMIND Plus, you can get free shipping. Thanks, Don.
Excellent. Thanks, Jan. All right, let's continue on talking about kind of the progression of your now transitioning from applicant to incoming student and focus in on technology and your study plans. Jolene, why don't you kick it over and talk about emails?
Thank you. So by now, you should all have access to your Queen's Outlook email. It's going to be your NetID at queensu.ca. So for example, mine is JPAJ. Yours will probably be between 4 and 6 characters and probably a mix of letters and numbers. And just again, at queensu.ca and then your password. Going forward, this is going to be the only email address that we use to communicate with you. So up to now, we've been sending some emails to your application email as well. We're not going to do that any longer. So please make sure you're checking your Queen's email often. Also, be very cautious of spam and phishing attempts. It's not at all uncommon for us to receive these emails in your Queen's account. If you're unsure, please check with IT before you click on any links or open any attachments. Next slide, please.
Yeah, I believe there was an incoming student who alerted us that a phishing email had already been received by their Queen's email address. It is a problem globally. We hate it, and thank you for flagging that, whoever that was, and definitely be cautious and alert IT services.
So there's several applications that are available to you as a new student, and some of them you're going to use very often, and you've already heard us mention them. So while you're probably going to want to bookmark or favorite some of these pages, you can also access them all very quickly from any Queen's homepage. Just click on the sign in button that's at the top right of any Queen's webpage, and you're going to see that list shown here. So this includes quick access to your Solus Student Center, Office 365, your Queen's email account, and of course OnQ, which is where you're going to interact with all of your courses. Next slide, please. And with any online program, we're going to need to rely on technology for much of what we do. We do encourage you to review the email communications that we've sent over the past couple of weeks very carefully, because they will help you get started. Should you experience any technical issues, though, both the university and the Faculty of Law provide excellent IT support services to help, and there are several ways to contact them as outlined here. And again, the link for the online help form will be included in the list of curated links that we're going to email out, but you can contact the phone number should you need it as well.
Excellent. Thanks, Jolene. So if you're new to online learning, if you maybe completed your bachelor's degree a while ago in classroom, if you want some more familiarity with the process of learning online, this is the time to start preparing yourself for the start of classes this January. We're going to send out these links, but there's some great examples and some resourcing available from across campus to assist those with learning online, as well as learning at Queen's. The first link there is just information that we're going to provide out to help you with the basics of accessing Solus and OnQ. Again, the listing of the free software that Jolene mentioned, software usage. There's some really great tools out there to help begin kind of your understanding of how to operate at Queen's. And then we get even deeper down with things from student affairs, the student academic success services. They provide individual feedback on keys to success with online learning, organization and time management skills. There's some really great resources considering the impact that this program is going to have on your time, your organization. It's not a light program. We've tried to stress that at every point in this process. It's going to be a very intensive program, especially ICL 810, which is a 12-week course condensed down to 6 weeks. We don't want you to shy away from it. We don't want you to be unaware that it's going to consume a lot of time and resourcing from you. But if you prepare now, you'll be even more ready for it once the classes start. And then at the end there, there's some really great information about OnQ. It's a proprietary resource specific to Queen's only. It provides you with some basics and support. Definitely go ahead and review those resources just to, again, prepare yourself for the start of term. Another thing we encourage you to do at the start of term is to join the GTIP ICL LinkedIn group. So we have a GTIP ICL only group for current students, instructors, staff members, as well as alumni. It's a great location to interact with everybody. There's always articles being posted there, great discussions happening about immigration and citizenship in Canada. And it's also where we post job postings that we receive from individuals and companies who are seeking assistance from our graduates. So go ahead and join us there. The LinkedIn link will be provided at the end of the session. You can go ahead and request to join. May take a few business days for us to go through the list of the requests. We do have a considerable number of students joining us this January. So please wait patiently for us, but we will include you into that group. And when you become alumni of the program, the interactions are going to continue even more in that same group. We have some really great alumni activities coming up. So again, join the LinkedIn group, stay connected with us, with your fellow students, and with alumni all throughout the LinkedIn group. All right, over to Amanda to talk about program plans.
As the tutorial selection survey has been delivered, you must adhere to your current approved study plan. Full-time studies consists of 3 courses per term, no more, no less. If life happens and you need to make amendments to your study plan or take a break, please email me, the support team, at gdipicl.support@queensu.ca to find out what your options are. Prepare to learn. This program will call upon your ability to manage your time effectively. It is important that you set up your support circle or go-to people now who you know will be around you to motivate you and give you what you need in order to succeed in this program. Make sure you have all the necessary resources that you need, such as up-to-date software and tools like a computer and headphones, as well as access to reliable internet service. Take advantage of our peer mentors, consisting of students who have already completed their first term or who are alumni. Reach out to them for one-on-one support and encouragement. You can contact them via the Padlet board activity that was sent out in the broadcast email with the new student orientation schedule. Lastly, start building your network now with current students from your cohort. Again, you can use the Padlet board that was sent to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Amanda. I'm going to cover deferrals. I'll also reiterate what Amanda has just said. Build a network now and start seeking support, especially those around you who are going to be able to provide you with alleviation of personal and professional responsibilities. Go ahead and start building that network. Immigration consultants, they seem to really thrive in networking opportunities. So getting to know one another is really going to be key, and relying on one another is going to help you through this process. I'm going to touch base a little bit about deferrals. We've already received a couple deferral requests, but deferrals are a little bit different for January intake than it is for September intake. For January, there are no deferrals allowed for any requests or any reasons. This is because of regulation and just the policies that we can't make deferrals between academic years. So moving somebody from January to September, because we don't have an ICL 810 course for spring summer, which is the introductory course that everybody needs to take first, we can't move you from the January term all the way to next September. So for anybody who is unable to begin, who is going to have challenges that will make their studies really difficult because you're starting as a full-time student and we're not looking at amendments to those, you may have to consider a withdrawal, which is okay. We want you to be prepared for that. But you're going to have to fully withdraw from the program and apply again when you are able to return. That means a new application fee, a new application, possibly new references if they're older than 1 year. You'll have to resubmit all PDF copies of your documents, and you'll have to await admission decisions because there's no guarantee for you to get back into the program. So again, really make sure you're prepared to go into this program this January. I'm going to pass it over to Jolene to talk about the student processes.
Thanks, Don. So like Don mentioned, we're unable to approve deferral requests for incoming winter students. There is no summer entry, and the following falls in a different academic year. So if your situation has changed since you accepted your offer and you can't commit to the program on a full-time basis, and you need to withdraw and reapply for another term, the fall 2024 application will open on January 15th, and it will close on April 1st, 2014. So there's definitely time should you have to make that decision. You, again, will be required to repay the application fee, and there's no guarantee that you'd be admitted. The withdrawal process slightly varies depending on when you make the request. So it's important to note this date. Prior to January 10th, which is the tuition deadline, you can email your formal request to withdraw. Just make sure that your intentions to withdraw from the program are clearly stated in your email. After the January 10th tuition deadline, you need to actually sign an academic change form. This is required to process your request, but again, you clearly state your intentions. And regardless of when you make the request to withdraw, you must send it from your Queen's email address, and you have to include your 8-digit student ID number. Students should also note the refund timeline, which is outlined by the SGSPA sessional calendar, which will again be included in the list of links that we're going to email out. But again, the tuition is already getting populated for courses, and if you need to withdraw, you want to make sure that you're eligible for a full refund. So it's important to follow the dates for the refunds that they provide. And again, please email us, gdipicl.support@queensu.ca if you need to discuss any of this with a team member.
Well, thank you very much, Jolene. Let's continue on talking about QSAS and accommodations, and I'm going to pass it over to Jan to explain what QSAS is.
Thank you. So at Queen's, we have the Queen's Student Accessibility Services Office, or QSAS for short, and this is for students with disabilities. Here on the slide, I've highlighted some steps that you can follow and a useful guide at the bottom here that you can click on to get started. If you have had accommodations as part of your academic history, or you'd like to start the process here at Queen's now, it's my recommendation to start the process of getting your documentation in early on, even before your courses begin. This way you'll be able to meet with a QSAS intake advisor and obtain your personal letter of accommodation that you can use in all of your courses going forward. So they'll be able to discuss with you exactly what your personal needs are in order for you to be successful in this program. And the typical accommodations are usually extra time on the quizzes that we have and up to maybe 7 days extension on assignments. And we do have a session coming up on November 30th that will be focused on QSAS. So if you have questions, you want to just pop into that session there during the NSO, please join us. Thank you.
Excellent. Over to Amanda.
Whether students are registered with QSAS or not, Queen's University recognizes that students may have unforeseen extenuating circumstances that temporarily affect their ability to fulfill their academic obligations and requirements. I can't stress this enough. If you feel like you are struggling or falling behind, it's important to keep the communication channel open between you, your instructor, and I. We want to see you succeed in this program so we can work together to explore what options you have and what services Queen's University has to offer. Especially since your first course, ICL 810, is a prerequisite course for all other ICL courses, it's vital that you stay on track. There are no options to extend or defer ICL 810 while taking other ICL courses. ICL 10 must be complete with a B- 70% or higher in order to progress in the program.
Thank you very much. Hugely important. Keep in contact. Communication is going to be key. Don't wait to let Amanda and Jan know what the situation is for you and the course. We want you to succeed. We've gone through this lengthy admissions process to make sure that you are successful in this program. All right, that brings us to the Q&A section. Before we open up the Q&A box officially, we do have some frequently asked questions that we are going to cover, and I'm going to ask Jolene to cover the first two.
Thank you. So we have already mentioned a lot of this in our presentation, so let's just make sure we recap. Can I pay my tuition in installments? Yes, absolutely you can. You can register for the PPL. Once we finish the enrollment process, the PPL will open on December 1st, so you'll be able to apply right through your SOLAS. It's great for splitting your tuition cost up over several months. Again, make sure you've got your holds cleared so that the registration process can occur and you can apply for the PPL. And then what's the difference between OnQ and SOLAS? Again, you keep hearing us talking about both of these platforms. So in a little bit more detail, OnQ is Queen's Enterprise Learning Management System. So there you will access course content like videos, group work, and shared files. You're going to communicate directly with professors and classmates, collaborate and present your assignment material, submit assignments, complete quizzes and other material for evaluation, and you can view your grades and assignment feedback there. Solus, on the other hand, is designed to provide you with tools to manage your academic, financial, contact, and admission details during and after your academic career at Queen's. But please remember, again, that the staff manage all of your courses, whether it be adding or dropping. So in plain terms, OnQ is educational and Solus is administrative.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jolene. Over to Jan for the next 3 questions.
So a popular question is, why can't I access 8, 20, and 30 now? And you might even want to get in there for ICL 810 as well, but there are opening dates for these courses on OnQ. We call them course shells. So 810, you're going to have access in January, and 820 and 30, you're going to have access on March 4th. So please stay tuned for more information about that. But unfortunately, you can't go in there and kind of just look around. But I do encourage you to come to our NSO sessions, because we'll be giving you a sneak peek of the course shells and what to look for and how to navigate them. And the next question is, what happens if I miss a tutorial? So you must know that your tutorials are mandatory. You did sign up for them when you filled out the tutorial survey. So you should be available, marking those down in your calendar. But I understand life might happen. There might be some obligations where you might not be able to make 1 or 2 tutorials, and that's okay. You'll just have to prepare a written assignment that you will submit to your instructor in case you do miss a tutorial. There is attendance being taken as well. So make sure, as we started off this presentation, ensure that your Zoom name is what you see on your Solus account so that it matches the attendance list there, okay? And are all the tutorials the same length? Short answer, no. ICL 810 and 890 have 2 mandatory tutorials totaling 3 hours per week, and the other courses have either 1 weekday or 1 weekend tutorial totaling 2 hours per week.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jan. I've got the final 3. The number 1 question that I hear a lot is, what if I need to amend my study plan? You're going to have to email gtipicl.support@queensu.ca for that information. This is managed on a case-by-case basis. And again, for January intakes, we only reviewed full-time applications, so you're going to have to follow the full-time study plan. What if I don't pass ICL 810? This is a question we get because people want to be prepared. We understand that this happens. ICL 810 is a difficult course. Lots of people pass, of course, but there are the handful of students who don't. It happens. You are able to retake ICL 810 in September 2024. So you'll be paying the full tuition fee for January, and you'll have to pay it again for September. We will hold a spot open for you for that term. Again, as Amanda outlined, be in contact with their office, because none of us want you to fail any of the program, especially not ICL 810. So the earlier that you get in contact to acknowledge the supports that you require, the easier the process is going to be, and ideally you're going to pass with that B- average. So communicate, but there is an opportunity if you need to retake the course in the following term. The final question is, can I change tutorials? Swaps are only occurring in the first 2 weeks of the course. They must be managed by the gtipicl.support@queensu.ca team. Do not share tutorial links. Only attend the tutorials that you are enrolled in. Once you are confirmed, if a swap occurs, only attend the swap one, and only attend that once it's confirmed. You have to stick with the tutorial that you were enrolled in, as it's outlined in your Solus account. Don't start making swaps unnecessarily without contacting gtipicl.support@queensu.ca to have an approved swap move forward. All right, I'm going to open up the Q&A box now as we continue on with next steps and the contact staying connected slide. So you can go ahead and utilize the Q&A box, ask your questions. There's a lot of people here today, so we're going to take some time to get through them. And any of the popular questions, we're going to go ahead and get you to upvote. There's a thumbs up icon, click that, and we'll answer those verbally within the session. All right. So next steps. This kind of is a bit of a recap and things that you can do in preparation for the next 6 to 8 weeks before we begin courses in January. Again, go back and review all of your emails. Check your Queen's email address. Make sure that's active. If you're having issues with your NetID, logging into your email address or the email itself, make sure you contact IT support now. Submit all official documents. Make sure there are no holds in your Solus account. Check the SGSPA application system, view the documents as Jolene outlined, and make sure that everything is marked as hard copy received or official copy received. If there's something outstanding, make sure that is getting delivered into the SGSPA office to clear that hold. We cannot enroll you without the hold being cleared. So make sure you are on this right now. Communicate with SGSPA and your A&R assistant to find out what exactly is required if you can't see that within the SGSPA application. Save the date for NSO, new student orientation. As Jan mentioned, we've got a session coming up on November 30th, and then the big bulk of the session takes place November 5th through 7th. And monitor your Solus account for enrollment as things continue on, process tuition payments as they come up, and of course you can apply for the PPL starting December 1st as you're enrolled in the program. We have, oh, it's not clicking over. There we are. Of course, you can find all of this information on our website, immigrationdiploma.queenslaw.ca. There's a great current student section, so find the handbook, find a lot of great information there. And there's the link to the LinkedIn group, linkedin.com/groups/139-30509. We're going to send that link out. I could actually include it once we start answering questions in the chat. And we will be sending out that curated series of links here shortly after we complete the pre-NSO sessions. All right, let's jump over to the Q&A. And if any of the team here has seen anything consistently come up and they want to answer it verbally, by all means. Let me just take a look. So again, you can upvote questions that come in by giving it the thumbs up there in the Q&A box. And so somebody's asking about part-time students. That is not something that we look at for January intakes. Any changes to study plans can be evaluated at the end of term through discussion with the gdupicl.support@queensu.ca email address. So somebody's asking if tuition has been posted, that means all required documents are received. I would not say that is a guarantee. We have been able to enroll individuals. Perhaps there might have been something missing. Our encouragement is to go back to the SGSPA application system, use the same login information you used to accept your offer of admission, to apply for the program, and again, check the document list to make sure everything is marked as official copy received. That's from all of the post-secondary things that are listed within your application. If something is not listed as official document received, maybe it states official document required for program purposes or whatever the A&R assistant may have entered there, then contact them to find out what is required and contact your previous post-secondary institution to have that document delivered. Jan, do you want to talk about the question, are the orientation sessions in December mandatory?
Yeah, they definitely are mandatory. We are encouraging you to attend all of the sessions. They've been carefully curated for your success in this program. I do understand, you know, you might have an appointment or something that's going to get in the way of some of those sessions. So if you do see the broadcast that we had sent you with the dates and the times of each session, it will tell you within the session description if a session is going to be recorded and posted for you. But again, I'm encouraging you to come attend, because this is your chance to talk to instructors, get to know your peers and build the connections that we were talking about throughout this presentation. And you're going to be able to see navigation of the ICL 810 course, and it's kind of going to be like a hands-on sort of experience for you. So I'm going to say it's mandatory, so please do attend, okay?
Excellent. And Jan, somebody's asking, what form does Queen's test or exam students?
So we don't have any tests in this program. We have quizzes and assignments, and you are going to be allocated engagement marks for attending your tutorials. So that's kind of the areas where you will get your marks from. So once you get into the course as well, you'll be able to see how that's all structured. Everything is delivered through our learning management system called OnQ. And during the new student orientation, we're going to have a session called ICL 810 Ask Me Anything. So that you're going to meet the coordinating instructor for ICL 810, and she's going to navigate through the entire course shell for you. So it's going to be recorded, so you'll be able to keep that. And you can kind of have an idea of what the assessment deadlines are and what they're going to be.
Excellent. Thanks, Jan. So somebody is asking about directly contacting RBC personnel regarding the student line of credit. Yes, please do. Please directly contact them. So Mark and Flora's contact information are listed on the tuition and financing page. I will just quickly go back to that slide in case you want to jot that down. They are the contacts. They will have great information for anybody who's interested in the line of credit. Oh, looks like Jolene's provided those names and email addresses to you. Very good. Thank you very much. Any additional questions? This is your opportunity to ask us anything before the start of term and before NSO. We're happy to stick around here and provide any additional information we can.
I'll just add, in case anybody's wondering about the tuition, you only have ICL 810 added right now, but it will be adjusted as we add 820 and 830. So just be aware of that.
Jan, somebody's asking, is there any break between terms?
So I'd like to say that our program is very unique. It doesn't really follow the Queen's University sessional calendar that you might see on their website there. So that's why we have sent you the full program plan attachment that was in the new student orientation schedule. I made sure to provide that for you so you can print it out, have it in front of you, and you basically have the whole year with the dates of the courses in front of you. So that's what you'll be following. But to just answer in a short way, there isn't any really winter breaks, spring breaks, but there are short breaks in between certain courses that you'll see.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Somebody's asking about student IDs. We don't control student IDs. These are handled by the Office of the University Registrar. There's an official email address that I'm going to find to contact them directly. Just sending this again.
I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, perfect. All right, excellent. So Jan's just sent out the link to student IDs. So student IDs aren't mandatory for studies. They are a nice thing to have. And if there are student discounts in your local area, definitely you can utilize your student card to take advantage of those. You upload a picture and they mail it to you. But again, all handled by the Office of the University Registrar. Any additional questions? We will stick around until 1 here if people want to continue to ask questions. If not, by all means, again, you want to join the LinkedIn group. I've provided that that link within the chat, but just in case you needed it, I'll jump to that slide. LinkedIn.com/groups/139-30509. Join it. It's a great location to interact with individuals, staff, fellow students, alumni, instructors, everybody's within that group. It's a great resource for anybody who wants to keep up the conversation and find more information about immigration and citizenship law in Canada. Jan, we've just got somebody said Canadian Immigration and Refugee Law Practitioner's Handbook 4th edition is recommended, but somebody has 5th edition. Should they contact Eamon directly?
Yeah, so like I said, there have been some changes made to the edition, so that's why I'm gonna post it to answer your question there. I posted the bundle for you for 810 that includes the specific editions that you should be having, okay? So stick to what's posted on the Eamon website.
Somebody is asking, the program plan provided doesn't have dates, only length of time and number of weeks. I guess at this point, Jan, you can confirm if I'm wrong. Probably the best bet here is to utilize Solus and to just log in and review program plan through there to get a sense of days of tutorials and times.
Yeah, that's one source. But the handout that was attached to the new student orientation broadcast, it has overall weeks of when the courses will be available for you. So that's what you should be using. There might not be specific tutorial dates listed on there, especially for dates happening in fall 2024. But definitely for winter, even up to summer, we do have the weeks that are listed there for you for the courses.
Excellent. All right. Well, we will stick around here for an additional 5 minutes for anybody who has any additional questions for us. For everybody else, thanks for participating. We're really excited to have you joining us this fall or this winter. New student orientations coming up. Prepare that. We've already talked a lot about the official documents. Make sure your holds are cleared so that we can enroll you and then focus in on tuition and the tuition's payment plan. In the meantime, go ahead and enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are located. We look forward to seeing you on the 30th and then December 5th through 7th, and then starting the term this coming January. Thanks, everyone. We'll stick around here if anybody has any additional questions. We just appreciate your time, and yeah, we'll see you soon.